yeah. Just about as groovy as a 10-cent movie. I'm your man, Calvin Gibbs. This is Drama Talk Radio. As you know, Drama Talk Radio is the show where the word drama, DRAMA, stands for developing real and moving art. We thank you for listening to this episode of Drama Talk Radio. Today I have a very special guest online with me. And he's a friend of mine. We met a while back. We're going to talk about that and how we actually met and some of the projects that he has been successful in bringing to the folks here in Chicago and beyond. His name is Victor Gulley. Victor, welcome to Drama Talk Radio.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me on the show.
My pleasure. So we're going to get right to it. You and I met a while back.
Yes.
Through one of your productions that you were doing. It was part of the After Work program.
Yes.
And if you can just tell the listeners what the After Work program was.
Okay, the After Work program was where people who had a 9-to-5 job could actually still pursue their dreams by doing artistic things, whether you were a writer, a director, or you were a actor, singer, music producer, or just a musician. You could actually bring that talent to this program and then nurture it. So that was the whole concept of the After Work program, and that includes writers. And we were doing a play called A Long Goodbye at the time, and I met TJ, who was one of the actors in that performance, and I think that's how we eventually connected.
That's correct. We went out there to the Salvation Army and saw the production there.
Yes.
So why was there a need for the After Work program? Was that specifically for people that had 9-to-5s and could not go to auditions during the day? That's
correct. That's correct, because as a professional artist, you have to be available when the auditions happen, and those are generally during the day when you have to be at work, and you don't have the ability to sacrifice because you have a family. You know, you have to be there and take care of your kids, and they need benefits sometimes, because they have to go to the doctor, and you can't do that on sometimes on an actor's salary. You have to go to work. So this was for those people who love the art but could not do the art professionally for a living.
That's right. And what I love about that program is that it not only was for actors. You also had photographers and graphic artists and musicians that were a part of that program.
That's correct, and and also writers. We must make sure that's in there. People who knew how to tell a story, or who knew how to write a story. They were also a part of that.
And that's very important too, especially when you're talking about theater, because a lot of time all of the accolades go to the director and the actors, but somebody sat down and wrote that story and had the idea of creating this world that the story encompassed in, and very seldom do they get their props. So very good on that. Now, after the After Work program, you moved on to another project called A Taste of Theater.
Yes.
And here in Chicagoland, especially, A Taste of Theater for several years has become a staple. And tell us a little bit about what A Taste of Theater is.
A Taste of Theater is giving the local playwrights or non-professional or self-producing playwrights an opportunity to showcase one scene of their play for the audience to vote on. And it's also a training ground as well, where we bring in the people who are in that line of work at the top of their game, and they come in and they teach you, the person who's doing that type of work, how to take your game to the next level.
So what kind of success did you have with that here in Chicago?
Well, it was something that was new. So we did have some success with that. It got better and bigger over the years, but when we first started it in 2012, that right there was it was, first year no one had seen anything of this nature. It was the first time where community theater and professional theater were under the same roof. So all the unions we brought in to represent, to basically tell people how to become part of the union, and all the community theater organizations that were out there, we brought them in. So if you decided not to go the professional theater route, you went the community theater route, you would have all the information you need in order to make that happen. And that includes the unions for the light, sound, people, the stage managing, and so forth.
Now that's a groundbreaking idea. Has there been any thought or any plans to
Mhm.
take that to other cities?
Not at this time, because it's it was created here, so we've been here in the Chicagoland area. The only city that we took it to that was different was Gary, Indiana, when we did the last one there.
Okay.
We wanted to take it into a community where the children there could actually um, see a Robert Townsend, or actually learn from a Renako Jahi, who is the acting coach for Jennifer Hudson.
Okay, very good. And of course, Gary is right next door to Chicago. So
Yes.
I do have a question as far as putting together an event of this magnitude. Um, how, what type of organization did you have, or what kind of help did you have putting this together?
Well, there was no help. I was the sole funder of this entire project. So I would sacrifice all year round and pay for everything that this event was. Um, so that meant when you like to eat a steak, you eat a burger. And when you like to go out to do other things, you decided not to do it, and you saved in order to make the greater good of this project or reach the goal.
That's called sacrifice for your craft. So
Yes.
kudos to you for that. Now, during the time that Taste of Theater ran, I as a uh, as a Chicago theater enthusiast, I would
Mm-hmm.
have been there every year. Of course, I did have some medical issues which held me
Mm-hmm.
back, but I always keep my pulse on what's going on with Chicago theater. So I did
Mm-hmm.
quite a few people about a Taste of Theater, and
Mm-hmm.
um, overwhelming response was they all enjoyed it. Uh,
Oh,
they
wow.
they enjoyed it. They took some people took part of in the workshops. They
Mm-hmm.
they were thrilled to meet the named professionals that was there. Uh,
Yes.
they had a ball. It's always good when you can reach out, rub elbows, if you will, shake hands,
Mm-hmm.
on some level to get to know someone that is an icon, a Robert Townsend, or
Yes.
a Shelley Garrett. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So,
Yes.
so that was a fantastic thing. So that was in 2013, I believe. You said you started a taste
2012 we
2012.
started it.
Okay, a taste of theater. And where is Taste of Theater now in this COVID or pandemic environment we live in? What's your plan for
Oh,
the future?
Well, the main thing is what they call pivoting. When I was doing the after work program, I pivoted to a taste of theater. And then the following year in 2013, we did a pivot in creating a television show where we interviewed the playwright and showed us a segment of their play. And then we did another pivot, and that there was a theater app or an app for people who are in that industry. So it would basically um, connect theater professionals and then once they're connected, the public could use that app to find any play within 50 miles of their cell phone. So in the original question was, where are we at in 2020 with the COVID situation? We're in the midst of another pivot. And the theater app is almost complete, which we believe once theater returns, it will be the only process that people will use to connect or to do theater. And the second pivot, which is direct result of COVID, is our streaming app. We started this in 2016 on Apple TV and Amazon Fire. And now we are revitalizing our streaming app, and it will be up and running in a few weeks as a direct result of the COVID.
Great.
So pivoting is the best way to basically describe it.
Yeah, that we all have had to become experts, if you will, at pivoting this year. Being able to spin or move and keep things going forward. And I think we've, as a community, have done very well with that, in that several theater productions have been done online now, and with
Yes, they have.
varying amounts of success. What's your thought on, because of that connection between actor and audience? What is your views on theater productions online? Or yeah.
Well, I would say this: most people hadn't been to a Tyler Perry play until they saw the bootleg DVD. I was one of those people, and I said, "Oh man, this place was really good." Had there not been the medium where you can watch it at home, I never went to one of his shows. Comedy has had that same effect. Like, I would have never seen Kevin Hart if he hadn't recorded his performance. Same with Cat Williams and other notoriable comedians. So in the theater world, I never had a chance to see a Shelley Garrett production because I was too young to go see Beauty Shop. But I knew the name because you heard it all the time. And he's the first person to actually make that happen. So when you are now 20 years later or 30 years later from where he started, you have a medium where you can put a person in front of your production where they're not there. It actually expands the walls. So that is one of the things that we firmly believe will become the way that, or one of the ways that people will see productions going forward, even after COVID is finally laid to rest, that they will still want to see a production from the comfort of their own home.
Now,
that's why, yes.
Oh, not meaning to cut you off. Now, a Tyler Perry play that was videographed and shown, that's a little different than when you have to invoke social distancing and put on a production. So what I've seen from some theater companies now is invoking that social distancing, and specifically that connection between audience or even between actors actors in a scene. Uh, what's your thoughts on that? The connection.
Well, the connection will always be there. It never goes away. The only difference is you'll lose the immediate feedback from the audience because they're not physically in the room with you. Because when you're physically there, you see things that maybe the camera won't pick up. So that part you'll lose. However, with technology progressing in the way that it's progressing, that will change as time goes on. And with social distancing, which the original issue question was surrounding, you have to take in consideration when people are doing plays, they have to do them with all the actors taking COVID tests, because that's part of getting your certification. If you are going to do a production, you have to have your certification as a safe set. So otherwise you open yourself up to a potential lawsuit. So with that being said, yes, there's social distancing. Yes, you're doing work with fewer people, but those that you are working with have to operate under those safe guidelines, meaning that all your actors have to test negative for COVID-19 before you can even bring them onto the set to do the show.
Very good. I do agree with that. I also believe from a director's point of view that we will see new training going on for actors to be able to perform and present on a Zoom platform, for example, where they are socially distanced, and be able
Yes.
to create that new virtual experience. And I believe that that's what is going to drive this virtual world forward as far as theater. Yeah, I think there's a bit of training that will follow very soon, because as an actor and as a public speaker, the most important thing to me is my connection with the audience. And
That's true.
And when it's not there, it's different. It's like being a comedian, telling jokes to your dog, not getting any,
Yes.
and not getting any response back. Then the dog walks off. You're like, damn.
Yeah, but you said something very important in that short statement, that just because you don't have the audience doesn't mean you stop the craft.
Oh yeah.
So you're gonna still tell that joke even if it's only to the dog, because that's what you do. It's not for the money, it's for the love of the game.
Absolutely. That's why we do what we do. So I also want to hit upon you had a cable access show.
Yes.
I'm assuming that was local as well here in Chicago.
Actually, no, it was international. So that was one of the pivots we did in 2013. We created that television show, cable access television show, where we would interview the playwright, showcase one scene of their play, and then we would send that episode out all across the country. So our shows have been on in Minneapolis, Atlanta, Philadelphia, San Francisco, Seattle. We've been aired even as far as South Africa, those episodes. And we still have episodes in the can. We just haven't gotten to putting them together. So whenever you came to the festival, you weren't just performing locally on our stage. We would record it and then send it out all across the country.
And that cable access show was also called A Taste of Theater.
That is correct.
Good, very good. Wow, that's exciting when you can produce something and have it go out across the world.
Yes.
That's what's up, man.
Yeah, the whole point of it was to combat this one issue. Whenever you have a play, or new work, it's always difficult to get people to come see it. So we wanted to make sure that we solve that problem by giving the exposure to the new works.
Very good. Very good. For new actors, new directors, in this coming up in this pandemic environment, and there are some, I would say, youngsters coming up behind us. Any advice for them going forward?
The first and foremost, you have to learn your craft, and not assume that you know everything that there is to know, because there's always a new way of doing certain parts of your craft. So, for instance, when I reached out to stage managers, we reached out to the Stage Manager Association of America to basically find out what type of reports they do. But so once we got the information, we didn't stop there. We had to learn what else are people doing in the world, because we're no longer in just a singular economy. We are in a global economy. So we reached out to people overseas, from London, from Africa, and other places, to find out, how do stage managers do what they do? So I'm suggesting to anyone that plans on going into this field, you have to constantly seek out those who know more than you do, and always seek to improve your game by constantly researching not just what's happening in your country, but look at what's happening in other countries.
Very good. And that's so important. I tell younger actors this all the time: get a mentor.
Yes.
I tell this to people that's just starting out in public speaking as well. Get a mentor. Get someone that can show you the ropes. If you can avoid making some of the mistakes that they made and learn from their mistakes, you can save yourself so much time, so much headache, and if you don't, then you're going in waters where you've never been before. And I relate it to like chasing a parked car. You're going to get a flat head,
Yes.
banging up against that hard surface. It's much better to get a mentor that can give you some ideas, some suggestions, help you navigate things a little better.
But I would add one to that: not just getting a mentor, but following the advice even when you don't understand the advice. Because I've been in spaces where my mentor has told me to do something, and it was very uncomfortable. It was very nerve-wracking. I'll even go so far to say it pissed me off. But because I followed the advice, I couldn't see which direction that I was being taken. But because I followed the advice, I was able to reach a new level that I would have never gotten to if I hadn't followed the advice.
Now that's some Star Wars stuff right there. That's some Luke Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi stuff right there. Serious. You listen to your mentor, even if you don't agree with it, even if you don't understand it. Do what you're told. That's very good advice. So Victor, we're coming to the end of this episode. How can the listeners reach you? Do you have any websites, anything you can share with us?
Yes. Well, the A Taste of Theater is a taste of theatra, and the reason why it's TRE at the end as opposed to TER is because theater, TER, is for movies. Theatra, TRE, is for live performances. So you would see us at atasteoftheatra.org, because that's a non-for-profit. And then when we did our pivot, we changed the name of the app from A Taste of Theater, ER, to My Upstage. So if you would like to take a look at our theater app, it would be at myupstage.com. And if you'd like to also be a part of our writing team, because we took everything from the after work program and rolled it into a taste of theatre. So if you would like to be a part of our writing team and help us write plays, you would just click on you go to our meetup group on meetup.com, and you can attend one of our writing sessions digitally. So like we just finished writing a play called Redemption, and we're getting ready to start on our next play.
Okay. Very good. Thank you so much, Victor. It's been a pleasure having you on Drama Talk Radio.
Thank you.
And please feel free to come back anytime you have a project going on that's coming up. We'd love to promote it, let the audience know what's going on.
Thank you, sir.
You are truly developing real and moving art.
Thank you, sir.
Well, that's about it, y'all, for this episode of Drama Talk Radio. I'm your host, Calvin Gibbs, and it's always in parting that we take 2 steps to the rear and get on out of here until the next episode. Exit stage left.
All right.